The pre-show too, so we are going live. We're going up. Let me view my docs here. Stream information.
Take me down to the paradise city where the grass is green in there.
And I got nasty titties.
Ooh.
Ooh, let me get that just out of frame. Ooh, that's Dan's hand. Dun, 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 dun. Soon, folks. It's like
One day.
Look at that hairy fucking hand. Look at that hairy fucking hand. It's gorgeous. Dun, 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 dun. Update all. Let's get that running right. Chat. Because today I uniquely can watch the chat way better than I ever have. So obviously we're gonna have absolutely no fucking viewers. You do going to blue sky and advertising on X. Now its name is X.
X. You know, that classic media giant, X.
X.
I always wondered who was going to give it to me, and now I know.
He did this and he did not even try to get that, like, he did not even try to get the rights to use that for his advertising. So, like,
I know, right? Like, how good a businessman can he really be?
yeah,
That's all I'm gonna say.
repeatedly a fuck up.
Literally the best line you could possibly have.
Literally a fuck up. He can't he can't help himself. He's like he has to dick first fuck up.
Man, he has been pushing. I just saw it the other day, or I just saw it earlier today. He has been pushing this X thing for quite a while, hasn't he?
Yeah. I'm gonna cease my camera, but you can see what's going on there. I can see what's
Uh-huh.
being broadcasted. We are good. So now you can see it. So you should be able to see my hand, right?
I see the hand.
Hello.
I see Jennifer Lopez.
Thank you. Jennifer Lopez.
Jennifer, Jennifer Lopez.
Oh, we're doing this thing. Okay. All right. Let's check in.
Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah. It's always cool when somebody's I'm reading some Twitter right now just to refresh why I hate most of the people on Twitter. Wow, somebody's watching. Good for them. Good for them. You fire up anytime you want to say something, chat. You go right ahead. We're getting ready for the live show.
All is live.
Yeah.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Hmm. That was the most accurate warning I've ever seen.
Take that.
Uh, yeah. That was a very accurate warning. What's up, chat? Okay. So, I mean, like I said, I got props tonight. I need a pencil. So I'm gonna demonstrate some things live because well, I don't want to waste the content. Don't waste the content, Dan. Don't waste the content. What would Michael Jordan Peterson say right now? I'd say don't waste the content. We're not
He
even
would
trying.
definitely be saying that.
He of all people definitely would.
And he'd be right.
Thank you, Chad, for helping to get those numbers up. Every one of you makes a difference. Dun 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 dun. Take me down to some big white titties and show me your big white titties. I want you, please show them off. Yeah, yeah. Take me down to big white titties and just show me some big white titties. Show me your big white titties. I have a Phyrexian etchings. I tried so hard in Modern to get that card to be good. I tried so hard and I just ripped one in a list slot today.
It just wasn't quite cutting it.
Well, the card is the purest gas out of anything. You know what I mean? But like one one good abrupt decay, and suddenly you don't exist no more. You're not a thing anymore.
Listen, it's not like there's a bevy of removal in the format of Modern.
Yeah.
Okay? Name more than 6 cards that deal with it,
Haywire Wraith,
incidentally.
Cosmic Caterpillar, Ghazali Pride Mage, Reclamation Sage, Outland Liberator, Cathart Commando, Disenchant Naturalize, Ray of Revelation, which is actually played in Dredge sometimes. Let's see. There's that Masked Vandal that can exile it, which is actually really good for you, but it can still deal with your gas. Um,
So you're telling me there's at least 1 or 2 answers.
Proliferate makes it worse for you because then it's going to
Yes?
make the cumulative upkeep that much more devastating, even though
Yep.
in the short run you're like, ha 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 ha, I paid off more cards.
Aha, Sherrod, you are a teacher.
Yeah. I mean, I guess Cabal Coffers is in Modern now, so you can play like green black Phyrexian Etchings, I suppose, and you just have a Storm combo deck or a Ramp combo, but I feel like the risk is too high. I guess you could Masked Vandal your own Phyrexian Etchings before it's lethal.
Ooh, yeah.
That
That
suddenly,
feels that feels good.
suddenly, I think
Feels.
I talked myself into proxying up 7 different Etchings decks to find out which one reliably exiles it before you die. Okay, so it's what? Turn one. Turn one is Orborg into Expedition Map Pass. Turn two. Turn two is I guess a forest in this case. I need. Yeah, you know what? You don't have to play any Shocklands either. You can just fetch basics. You can like totally dominate on a Blood Moon deck. Oh my god.
There's a good reason to play.
Phyrexian Etchings Orborg. Because you can just break the Blood Moon lock and then go back to whatever nonsense you're up to. Just fuck them. They can't do shit to you. Oh, Chund. Oh, Chund, are you playing Blood Moon? Oh, Mono Red Prison, are you playing Blood Moon? Oh,
That's cute.
that's cute. Do you think Abrupt Decay scares me? Go ahead, blow it up when it only has 2 counters on it. I'll take 4, whatever. I'm playing a suicide combo. Then there's that black spell from Cold Snap, right? You exile 2 black cards from your hand, you shoot them for 4, and you gain 4.
Oh my god.
Uh-huh. We're almost there, dude. We're almost there.
I don't know where there is, but please let me off at the next stop.
Oh, okay. All right. Is that how we're gonna be? Is that how we're gonna be, dude? We're not gonna be cool.
Apparently. I don't know, man.
You can play Nykthos as well for extra mana. It's Cabal Coffers 5 through 8, and you will need 5 through 8 to pay for this stupid thing. You get a head start. It is 3 black. You get a head start, right? You don't have to drop it till T4. How is the One Ring just not for Phyrexian Etchings, but better? Why am I worried about breaking this? Here, it's this one right here. Why am I not? Let's see if I can get that on camera. Yeah, why am I worried about breaking this Ice Age rare or this Cold Snap rare? Why am I worried about breaking this card and not just breaking the One Ring with my Cabal Coffers ramp deck that just turns into a an Aetherflux Cannon, I guess, or a Torment of Hailfire or whatever through protection? Why am I why is my brain the way it is what I want to know.
I don't know, man.
I don't know what's wrong with me. I have
I
a
just,
I have an illness.
you do definitely be having some sort of illness.
I have a brewer's illness because I could do the exact same deck with the One Ring and it would literally be twice as efficient
Yeah,
because it wouldn't cost mana.
it wouldn't kill you
It wouldn't kill.
quite as
Arguably, it would
quickly.
save my life in more instances, and I could use it to
Quite as
draw.
quickly.
Yeah. Well, you figure if it's only dealing one damage per counter instead of potentially two, and like if they get rid of it, only Mass Vandal gets rid of it, but I can Legend Rule my own freaking One Ring and just be like, yeah, whatever. It's Clown Town. You can use it to what draw in one turn. You can draw like what? Like you can get it up to like 4 burden counters, so you can tap it for 4, untap, upkeep, draw. There's your 5th card, and then drop a new One Ring and tap it immediately. So you can see 6 cards in one like one end of a turn cycle. And how are you not comboing off when you just drew 1/10 of your deck? How are you not able to combo off in that scenario? Like legacy decks do that, and they're like, okay, it's time to win the game. It's time, it's gonna win the game right here. So good luck.
The the best is the deck that you forgot to put the kill in. Of
Yeah,
course.
that's what I should do. No, I should play red, black, green. Yep, I'm playing Jund, so we're gonna make this a Jund deck. We're gonna make this a Jund deck so I can play Wish. And then when I wish for tendrils, people will be like, that's not even a legal play. And I'll be like, you shut your fucking mouth.
That's your whore mouth.
You shut your whore mouth. I Dark Ritual Night Tendrils in Modern because my Modern deck is better than yours. You play stupid cards. You play stupid cards like Clothis. I play cool cards like Tendrils of Agony. And they'll be like, sir, you need to get out of the shop right now. I guess we should do the introduction, huh? I'm Dan Cohen,
I'm Jen Kangles.
and we are two of the Sons of Trier talking about our favorite hobby tonight. We're going total dork.
We are. We're dorking it up.
We are dorking it
Nerd,
up.
nerding it up. Is it a dork or a nerd thing? I forget which one is. Which one's popular now?
Nerds are popular, so we're dorks.
Okay. Okay.
Even though Magic is popular and cool.
Is it?
Yeah, dude, Post Malone plays it. We're in.
Oh.
Yeah,
Who's Posty?
Posty plays. Posty has his own Citadel. Because Wizards literally made him a card because he was like, I'll pay you $200,000 to make me my own Bolas' Citadel. And they were like, Abiba,
And
Abiba, Abiba,
Wizards
yeah.
Wizards was like, we love money. Please
Yeah,
say less.
do it. Do it. You had us at your wallet is open for us. You had us at raw profit on a Magic card.
How much money can we make off of one piece of cardboard?
One piece of cardboard. So let's get to it, right? Um,
Yep.
Here's what I want to tell you. I want to start with, right? And here's what I want you to think about. When I was a kid, right, we had an edition of Monopoly called Clevelandopoly. Cleveland Monopoly, right? And the premise to
Okay.
Cleveland Monopoly was that it was Monopoly, but it was just stuff in Cleveland, like a junkyard and a train station and the Rock and Roll Hall of
Cleveland, our primary economy is based on LeBron James.
Fame. Yeah. So
All
with
right.
that, we tend to call that something like a reskin or something like that. But in effective terms, right? I can sit down with that board. I can sit down with those game pieces. And I can sit down and play a game of Monopoly, right? I can sit down and play a game of Monopoly, and it's functionally similar enough to Monopoly that there's really no difference.
Right.
And the reason I tell that story is because tonight I want to talk about authenticity and I want to talk about proxies in Magic the Gathering because it is a passion of mine, but also it has an interesting theoretical implication. Because as we both are familiar with, game stores, largely speaking, say proxies are no good, they ruin the game store, they give the whole nine for why they are bad for the game, actually, right?
Hmm.
And I'm going to start next with this right here. See that little piece of paper? You see that?
Yep, yep.
Okay. If I do this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Put a big bar here, right? We'll put a big bar here.
Okay.
And then if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, gonna extend these lines down a little bit.
6, 7,
6,
8.
7. So I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What have I made?
It's a chessboard.
That's a chessboard. Indeed. Now, right? I get paper here. I get paper for days. Paper's cheap. Put a little R here for a rook, and put a W next to it, and put a B here for a rook, right? Let's see how well I remember my chess. White rook. Black rook. Can I play?
Yeah,
Can I play a functional game of chess with this? Could I do it? Right?
totally.
Totally.
Yeah, we totally could.
We would be what? We would be proxying a game of chess, right?
Yep.
We would be by proxy playing a game of chess. Now consider something like a Game of Thrones chess set.
Actually, hang on, back up. I don't even know if we would be playing a game of chess by proxy. We would just be playing chess.
You think, in your opinion, we're just playing chess? That's interesting. Okay, I'll take that.
Because there are definitely people who can just play with their eyes shut, right?
Yeah,
That is a thing. You can just play a game of chess. You don't need the board in front of you. If two grandmaster chess players are playing, they can just say their moves.
yeah, I can just say it. And right here, as you can see, it's 8 by 8. I can put 2 rows of figures on there. I have, again, plenty of paper, got a pencil,
Yep.
right? I'm holding it right there. And good old, I'm going to advertise this because I just love these pencils. That's a Ticonderoga, motherfucker. Best pencil there is.
Mm.
Okay, so right there,
Obviously, we're master chess players, of course.
we are definitely master chess players. That's true.
We
We
are
are,
masters and chess players.
yeah, we are masters and chess players. We are master debaters and chess players. Yeah. So the reason I mention that is because if we look at that, right, that is clearly not a chessboard in the traditional sense. That is clearly not a chess piece in the traditional sense. Yet I can still, with you, if I make all of the pieces, we can sit down over the internet right now and play a game of chess.
Sure.
We could totally do it. And the reason for that is the rules of chess, once they are known, that game exists. And as long as we follow those rules, as long as we follow
We're
the
playing the
actual,
game.
we're playing the game. Thank you. Right? So in terms of pieces, in terms of board, in terms of hardware, it is not an authentic game of chess. Because again, that's not a real chessboard. That is one I've made with a pencil. But in terms of playing the game, I can play a real game of chess. We could put money on it and we could turn it into a real competition between the two of us in the sense of like there's a winner and loser and there's a cost to losing. You lose out money, right? We could each bet on it.
Sure, and I also think a crucial element is anyone watching us would not doubt that we were capable of playing chess if they know how to play chess and watched us perform it with this thing, right?
Yeah, correct. Other people would be able to recognize a game of chess because we would be following a set of rules within a set of parameters that we all socially uphold.
Hmm.
So, to that, I brought my other. This is my fun little thing. We're gonna do this one live here. You see that right there? This right here is a real pack of Magic cards, not a repack.
Ooh,
That thing is
it
sealed.
is real hashtag legit.
It's
Sexy.
hashtag legit. You
I
can,
love the smell.
yeah, you can smell it through the internet, right?
I
There's a
can
little
smell it through the internet.
little tear here where it's telling me it wants me to open it, and I do love opening these things. Jank and I are addicts for this, so we're gonna
We are
crack this right now.
100%.
We are two of the worst fiends about this shit. So we're gonna crack this bad boy right now. As you can see, I'm ripping it open. This is pack fresh. I hope this is a good pack, but it's really funny if this is a dud, right?
It's equally good.
It's equally good in your eyes. Duds are just as good as wins, so let's look right there.
How should we be gauging this pack? Is this a draft pack? Are we drafting this pack?
Technically, this is a set booster pack. We could not draft this if we wanted to. We could draft it, but it would be a stupid draft. You have to have 4 packs, and it
All
could
right. So it's pure profit. Let's go.
pure profit. Let's go. So this right here, this card right here up front, right? This one is called an Art Series card, and it is not an official Magic card in the sense that it is not used for gameplay. Although if you look, if you know what card this represents, in this case the invasion of Pyrulia, right? This could stand in. I'm sorry, my camera's in a weird spot, and you know me, I do a ton of video content, I know, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But that
Hmm.
right there could stand in for an actual Magic card. Maybe if I move it back here. Yeah, there we go. That's better. That's
Yeah.
better on my arm too. So we have that, right?
Yeah.
Art Series, not a
Yep.
real card. Yet it came in a real
Absolutely.
pack of cards. It came in this pack. You watched me open it. It's on video. You watched me open it. Came right there. Okay, not a real card. I'm gonna put it off to the side for a second. This right here is what's called a rules card or a token card. In this case, this is a token. So this represents a non-real game object that you can create within the game's rules, and then it becomes real. It becomes real for the context of the game you are actively playing. So again, in a pack of Magic cards, not a real Magic card. If I put this in my deck as is, I have an illegal deck. If I register
Yep.
at an event, this is illegal, right?
Makes sense.
But if I don't have these available, if I don't have these fake Magic cards available, these officially fake Magic cards available, I'm going to have more difficulty playing the game than if I do have this very fake yet very real Magic card that I'm holding in my hands. I opened up again in this pack. It's going to make it more difficult if I don't have that. And just for funsies, we're going to go through the pack, right? So that's a land. I need that. That's a real Magic card. It has the Magic the Gathering back. This is official. Pack fresh. Look at that bad boy. Look at that. Oh, Jang, you can feel it through it, can't you?
Oh, I can.
You can, and it's
Uh,
good. It's even got. I like this art personally. How about you?
yeah, I'm into it. I've really been liking the new art. I've been liking the new sets. I think that they are phenomenal.
Yeah, they've had some winners. Here's a Portent Tracker. This one's a little guy. He's a little scamp. It's a good little
Hmm.
scamp. We got ourselves a chomping Kavu. He's a little
Hmm.
scamp
Hmm.
too. We got us a Volcanic Spite. That card blows. Storm the Seed Core. That's also just a bullshit card. It's terrible. It's complete crap. Rampaging Geoderm. You can see that
Yep.
there. Yep, that's shit. That's the kind of jank we would have played in 2009 and been like, this card's busted. This is interesting. This card right here does not have an official Magic back. It does not. Yet it does. So it does not have the same back as this card right here. See, side by side. They don't. Yet this is an
Hmm.
official Magic card, even though an official Magic card is allegedly supposed to have this back. It doesn't.
Hmm. Hmm.
But this card right here is totally tournament legal, and it has an official Magic back. Right. This is the Order of the Mirror / Order of the Alabaster Host. Right here, the invasion of Kylum. It doesn't even
Hmm.
sit the way the other cards sit. It sits sideways, and when it transforms, doesn't have an official Magic back. It actually changes physical position, so you have to rotate it. Right? Doesn't behave like the other Magic cards. Yet this is considered an official Magic card. What do we got here? Interdisciplinary Mascot. This is just bullshit. This came in the rare slot. This is a crap card. This is terrible. This is just a bad card. But again, officially tournament legal, bad card. Good card. Jury of the Review. Review. Good card. Uncommon. Not rare like the other one. Good card. Magic back. Nice and official. And if you look at the art differences, the standard Magic card looks like this. This Magic card looks intrinsically different. It's similar, right? It has similar elements. Here's the art, name, mana symbol, power and toughness, type line, text, right? Same elements here, but it looks fundamentally different than a Magic card. Uh, Zephyr Singer, sorry, uh, also pretty shitty. This is a draft card put into a non-draft pack, so it's useless. And then we have a nice foil merciless repurposing, one of the worst cards you could possibly have to deal with because it's 6 mana removal. It's terrible. But it's nice and shiny. See, it's shiny. It looks different. The back isn't shiny, but the front is shiny, so it's incredibly terrible to try to read on a video. Already worse. Look at that nice shine. This thing will curve dramatically to the point where you have to use dehydration packs, or you have to put it in a humidifier to straighten it out, depending on why it's how it's curving and why. Right? But that's a real ass magic card. Looks intrinsically different than some of them, but they real ass cards sold in a pack by Wizards. So when Wizards says what is and isn't an official magic card, shit, they're breaking their own goddamn rules. They broke their own goddamn rules. And it gets wilder because they also printed a wave of proxy cards in a set called Magic 30. That was the first time they've done that, I want to say.
Nope.
No.
No.
When did they first do it?
They had the World Championship decks.
Oh shit. That's right. So, they had magic this is cool. They had magic cards that came. That's right. That is a thing.
Unplayable,
No, well, kind of
quote
unplayable
unquote.
because they would be either signed or unsigned, and they would be gold trim, and the back, I believe, was also gold trim, right?
Yes.
That's
And
cool.
also the back had a different back.
Yeah, it had a slightly different back to show that it was part of the. It was a championship deck. It wasn't an official deck. So you could sit down and play that deck at home. It would function just like a real deck, like all these real cards would function. But notably, was not considered. It was an official proxy. It was an official proxy of an existing deck that really was made up of cards that Wizards considers official arbitrarily. Um, and would not. And then they printed Magic 30, which was a functional reprint of Alpha and Beta. And those cards were also gold. If I remember correctly, they're gold bordered, right?
Yep.
They didn't have the sharp corners, though, did they?
They did not.
No. So they didn't have sharp corners. The other thing about those proxy cards, the original proxy cards, if you look at this corner, it's nice and round. Doesn't really, if you do this, like, yeah, you feel something on your finger, but they were sharp. They were like a sharp corner that would wear down very quickly if you played with them to show that they weren't real magic cards. So you can kind of see this is rounded. Okay. Ooh, dropped it. Got it. Recovered. Boom. See? It's fine. I even
All
dropped it.
falling apart on you.
It is all falling apart on me. I'm bad at video. We're learning this live, folks. Can't make this shit up. So now they are printing a third wave of proxies that look like an inkjet printer has kind of been layered and glued to a magic card, right? And now I present to you a deck. This is, typically speaking, what a deck looks like. This is called a deck box, right? This little guy right here, he keeps cards safe. This is Ultra Pro. These, again, I'm just a fan of these products, so I'm willing to advertise them pro bono. I am not getting paid for this. This is not a hashtag paid endorsement. This is just I like these particular deck boxes from Ultra Pro. They're very. You can
Sturdy.
punch this pretty hard. Yeah, they're sturdy as fuck, dude. You drop this thing and it will stay. Listen to that satisfying snap right there. You hear that? See if I can get that. Out of bread. You can hear that snap. So that's what you put your deck in. This right here, this is a Dragon Shield sleeve. Okay? As you can see, the sleeve here is pretty sturdy. These are some of the best sleeves you can buy because they're sturdy as fuck. Other people will say they're just good sleeves or whatever. I'd say they're sturdy as fuck. Let's be men about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 card sideboard. That's for tournament purpose to show up your match and other matchups. So there's 15 cards here. This would be tournament ready in that regard. 15 of them. Nice thick hunk of cards. And the bulk of those cards, right here. 60 pieces. All of them cohesive, coherent, could be registered and put in. And when we look at this deck, if we piece it apart, I'm trying to see here, is there anything? This is a great example right here. Out of these two cards, which one is real? If you had to look at them, which one's real and which one's fake? Which would you say?
Oh man. Well, I can barely see this on this camera, but I'm gonna go with The one on the right is fake.
The
My
Atraxa?
right, you're no, the other one.
The Marsh Flats is fake?
That's my belief, and that the Atraxa is real. Question
Uh,
mark?
neither is real.
Neither is real.
Neither is
Good to
real.
know.
Neither of those is a real card. Not,
Tricky.
neither is an official card. Now, if you look at these, right? If you look at this, that has all the rules text of an Atraxa. It's not too. There are distinguishing characteristics to show one is not authentic, right? Most notably,
Sure.
if I do this, right, there's an authentic card right behind it. This is a thin piece of paper that does not really give itself up. See, no magic back. It's a piece of paper versus sturdy piece of cardboard, right? The hollow
Mm-hmm.
foil stamp isn't hollow at the bottom.
How dare
Okay,
you?
I know. And it sits a little bit off kilter within the sleeve, although it shuffles just fine. So
I
this
want
piece of my
to
cardboard.
remind the audience that Dan is admitting to his crimes.
Well, I don't sell these.
Yeah.
Here is an authentic magic card, totally foiled. This is the Junji Ito Thoughtseize. I don't know if you've seen one of these in real life. I have that. I got that
Ooh,
Secret Lair, yeah, for my birthday. It was a gift from former
nice.
co-host Jesus Venezuela. So yeah, it's a real ass magic card. I don't want to flick it too much. I actually want to keep it sleeved. I don't double sleeve it, but I want to keep it sleeved. Partially because I want my deck to be coherent, right? That right there, as you can see width-wise, nothing all that different. You can't really visually tell because, of course, the proxy is so thin by comparison, right? It doesn't really take up, doesn't occupy a lot of space. It slides pretty freely. It just doesn't occupy it. You can tell by the border being coherent, but if you were to tell by the art, if this weren't shiny, you would almost think this was a proxy, right? Because it looks so dramatically different than a normal card. You'd think I made that, and it would be more likely
Right.
this bad boy was real. Most of these cards you can see, you can kind of tell the ones with the white border. The ones with the black border are a little bit hard to tell, right? A little bit more
Mm-hmm.
difficult, I think. So the marsh flats to me passes better, but the intent isn't to pass for anything but a game object, just like black rook passes for a game object. I don't sell these. I don't profit from this in any way. And notably to do this, I have to buy an official Wizards product right here, including these non-tournament legal cards that come in the pack, right? These bad boys
Right.
right here. Those two got away from me. Let's see if I can do this. Oh snap! Dan Cohen is so flexible. And shoulders off camera. Oh yeah. Don't want to drop them. But I have to buy those, and I have to put those in the sleeves. I have to buy these sleeves to prepare a tournament legal deck. I bought this, paid for with real money to a local game store, my local, right here in town, right in Indiana. Shout out to the Indiana PA card shop. Again, none of this is paid advertising. I'm just telling you how I do it. I had to buy a printer from my local Walmart. Unfortunately, I had to support the Capitals pigs, and I had to buy ink from them and paper from them, and I had to spend my time and effort in assembling this deck, practicing this deck, tuning this deck, and preparing this deck for gameplay. So if I sat down with Jank Angles right now and started playing cards, we'd be able to play a coherent game of Magic that would follow the rules of Magic. These pieces would be inauthentic in terms of where I acquired the majority of them. Okay, they would not be
Right.
from an official Wizards product nor from a reseller. They would not have that same authenticity, but for the purposes of gameplay, they would be as indistinguishable as this would be because we both know the social rules of Magic the Gathering and where to obtain them if necessary and can engage them.
Sure.
The only rule that they have, because it's a proprietary product, is you can't have these in a tournament. That's it. That's what renders these right here, all these, every one of them, inauthentic. That's it. Can't play them in a tournament. It's the only thing. And now, because I'm a Magic the
Or
Gathering player, I got to shuffle these repeatedly.
or with a particularly whiny opponent.
Yes, we'll get into the whininess of the opponents because I'm gonna shit on their arguments. So, if I sat down and played you, I'm gonna shit on their argument because you're not a whiny opponent. You're an opponent who likes an opponent with a decent deck so that you can get a good match in. You're a guy who likes good
Yeah, I'm
matches.
here to play the game.
So if I sat down to you and said we're gonna play some, in your case it would be Maverick versus Reanimator. How would you take
Probably.
that offer?
I'd be all for that. That sounds phenomenal.
It does sound fun. By the way, piloting either of those decks and playing that matchup would be fun. We'd both know what to do, more or less,
Hmm.
and we would be able to play a coherent game of Magic. And by coherency, I mean the game actions taken, the moves taken, the transactions of the game to produce a winner would be coherent and indistinguishable from two completely purchased decks.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Now, the difference is in a tournament setting, none of my moves would be legal actions because they were done with proxies. The only thing I could do is effectively the act of casting the Thoughtseize would be a legal game action because it's a legal card. I'd have one legal tournament legal card out of 74 pieces of cardboard, just 74 non-legals. And what?
Did you even proxy the lands just for the sake of it?
Funny enough, I will show you. So of course the Bloodstained Mire is, excuse me, the
Naturally.
Badlands is a proxy, right? But you'll notice this is a snow-covered swamp instead of a basic
Yep.
swamp, pure proxy. I just don't own snow-covered swamp. I own a boatload of swamps. I think I ripped a swamp tonight. Hold on, let me see if I can find it here. I know I ripped a mountain.
it's, al- it's almost better if it stays a proxy.
It
Oh.
it almost is. I mean, I have no here. This is a real swamp. It's not snow-covered swamp though, so had to go proxy, right? Now, a
Yeah.
lot of people will argue that these hurt the local game store, but here's what I want you to consider, right? A legacy event costs, because real cards are involved, people expect the cost to be higher to play in a legacy event. The real cost of a legacy event is usually $20 to $40 a person, depending on prize support, that being the critical juncture, right? At a local game
That
store.
checks out.
They will
Sounds right.
they will happily fire, and this is the dirty secret. They will happily fire unsanctioned events with prize support all fucking day as long as they can extract a higher entry fee. And this is a fascinating quirk about this particular format and the argument I'm going to make, right? If you were to say that a standard deck, the newest shit being open and ripped open and whatever, developed into a deck, you wanted to keep that pure, i.e., only standard cards. My counter argument is, okay, print more of the rares. Flood the market so that that printing of it is huge and don't print more of it. If you were to tell me a modern deck which has cards, well, let's see, what's in modern out of this deck? That is, these two aren't to my knowledge. That is, that isn't. That's banned. Can't do it, but that is. Okay. There's a big chunk of this deck that's available in the modern format, right? And unfortunately, some of these cards carry quite the fucking price tag. Like this bad boy would set you back $1.49 to have real ones, and I've tossed and turned on buying real ones just to have a set of real ones. This bad boy was running 40, and I think it's still at $10 a piece. This bad
Yeah.
boy was running about 40 or 50. I think it's still 20, if my memory serves me. This motherfucker is going to stay 50 for a long ass time because she is the bee's knees. Um, this one was at least a $20 bill. Easy. Sarah's Emissary. In my sideboard, I have Iona. That's another, that used to be a $50 bill. Easy. Grizzy used to be. Got some Grizzy brand. He used to be big fucking money. These fluctuate, and I'm not shitting you. Real ones of these, the blue one especially here, this polluted delta, that can run you anywhere from $20 to $60, depending on the time of fucking year. Even up to what, these got up to 100, didn't they? They
Yeah, they
got you.
did.
Yeah. So $300 bills right here in my hand. Okay. So you want to be able to do this. You want to say that needs to stay pure. Okay. Lower the fucking price. Lower the fucking price and increase the margin for the reseller, i.e., Wizards stay the fuck out of printing singles, right? Let the let the market handle it. Let you make your money through selling all this all this shit right here that comes in that, and let the retailers make money on the secondhand market. Alternatively, if if I have this big ass legacy deck here full of proxy cards, all of them, like I said, 74 to 75 cards, 16, 15, 74 to 75, pure proxy, baby. If I have all this in proxy form, right? Do I need to win a super massive prize for legacy? Do I need to? Arguably, if I want to build another legacy deck, I need to win 20 bucks for this. For sake of argument, $13 for this pack right here. And I need about 5 of these. So my prize support only needs to be for first place to be able to build another coherent legacy deck, at least the shop related stuff. I only need to be able to win about 70 bucks. So a $20, $30 entry fee, and maybe second place only gets the sleeves and that part, right? You only get these two things right here. I don't need to win big fucking money. I don't need to win a goddamn Gaia's Cradle, which is a $1,000 card, if I can play with 4 Gaia's Cradles I printed out in my fucking printer. That local game store gets the profit far more from allowing me to proxy and lowering the price of entry. I don't need a $50 entry fee, and I don't need a minimum person count of 20 to begin to make it profitable, right? We don't need to do that. We can bypass that restriction. Suddenly, legacy becomes more accessible than standard. If we're willing to lower those prices in standard to no more than $10 cards, suddenly a standard deck becomes no more than a maximum of $600. And that would mean $750 with the sideboard. Assuming that every card was $10, that's $750 right there. That would mean every fucking card in there was $10 or more. That's just not possible, right? If you run any basic lands right there, that price goes down. And the price would
Sure.
be under control. I.e., it would be accessible. Maybe not the best deck to every player and the most expensive deck to every player, but the majority of decks then would be accessible in a format that rotates every 3 years now, formerly 2 years. And you wouldn't need to sell off all your old cards to buy into the next one. Maybe you wait 2 weeks while the format settles down and they figure out what the archetypes are, but by and large, you don't need to overinvest. You don't need to overextend yourself. And those would still be authentic, right? This card, again, inauthentic, but the game we can play with it, indistinguishable from a real game of Magic the Gathering. Even at the competitive level, if you remove the restriction that you can't play with proxies, you can't play 74 out of 75 proxies. The tournament itself is authentic. The gameplay is authentic. The excitingness of the game is not in the lotus petal in the vacuum, I would argue. It is not in having an authentic versus inauthentic lotus petal, this bad boy right here in my hand. This proxied one, anyway. But it would be in the actual gameplay. That's what's supposed to be exciting. That's what's supposed to make the game fun, not hoarding this little object here as an authentic piece or an inauthentic piece, but actually utilizing it to sit down and compete in a game of Magic. And what's different about it is, I'm taking Entomb now, right? If I have a real Entomb, I have a collector's piece. I have a collectible item. I have an authentic collectible item. But I don't need to risk damaging my authentic collectible item to play a game of Legacy. There's no rhyme or reason why I need to do that. And there's no rhyme or reason I need to do that with standard cards either, with my $10 collectible piece. The only reason I'm going to conjecture that that is not allowed, why these are not moved to collectible pieces that you can play a game with, and thus why proxies are no me gusta, is because Wizards wants to have it both ways. Local game stores, to some extent, want to have it both ways. Some of them are starting to wane on the idea and going more towards Jenkinized direction, but they want to have it both ways. They want the authenticity of a Magic card. They want you to risk damaging your expensive Magic card. Lotus Petal is what, $30, something like that right now?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Sounds about right. I'm gonna Google it just because I'm curious. Oh, it's down. It's down. Good old Tempest Lotus Petal is about $15 right now. 15. How much?
Awesome.
How much is this bad boy right here? How much is that one? This bad boy. This nice Kaladesh invention. Let's find the fuck out. Oh, $511 for this collectible. This collectible piece that I have proxied right here, that's $511. 500 fucking dollars. This is not a Tempest Lotus pedal, so it is not $14. It would be the cheap price of 139. That's it. They really expect you to sit down and play a game or watch. This is one of the game actions you do right here. A lot of. Okay? Shuffle your cards. Randomize your deck by hand, live with other people. And most importantly, let other people do the same thing to your cards, your expensive pieces of cardboard, your expensive collectibles. So the reality of it is, all right, this would be a multi-thousand-dollar investment. Something to the tune of, if I have the additions the way they are, something to the tune of what? At least 5 grand easy, right? 5 grand would be in my palm right now.
Sounds pretty accurate.
So here's the proposition that is proposed by something like Card Market, right? Proposed by something probably like Channel Fireball, for the most part. Okay, they want you to take this $5,000 investment. They want you to do this with it repeatedly. If you have 8 rounds of what we call Swiss play, up to 24 times live. And during the game, if you search your library at all, they expect you to hand this to another person. $5,000, hand it to another person, and let them do this to your cards. They want you to do that roughage. Now, of course, their argument is, well, the sleeves protect it, but the sleeves don't always protect it. What if that sleeve shatters on that $500 Lotus pedal? And I ram this pointed sleeve, which Dragon Shield, the one downside is these sleeves are very fucking sharp. These are almost sharp enough to cut skin. These sons of bitches are tough. But if they shatter, now my expensive piece of cardboard is getting rammed and wedged against a very hard surface with sharp corners. It's getting scratched up. It's getting ripped the fuck up. And we're supposed to take that proposition with a straight face. As if we all have that kind of money, right? If your cards are damaged, you're supposed to just go out and replace cards with a hyper scarcity in some instances. Like Gaze Cradle really doesn't have too many reprints. And if we go further back to the vintage format, you're talking a format that could easily, if you bought it all in paper, it could cost you what, 30, 40, $50,000?
Yeah, easily.
Easily. You drop a Lotus, what's the cheapest Lotus you can get is still like 10 grand, right?
Yep.
I think so.
Sounds right.
Let's check. Black Lotus, cheapest Lotus we can get. Collector's edition, I believe, is banned, but that's 2,500, so that's not good. Unlimited edition is 12,000.
Ugh.
That's a $12,000 investment. An alpha or beta Black Lotus is,
Oh, 30, 40,000, I think.
yeah, funny enough, Card Market, the people who don't want you proxying cards, they have a beta that they're selling for 57,000 euros. Euros. Right now, I believe a euro is $1.10 to 1.
Nah, they're about 1-to-1 right now.
I think they're 1.10 to 1. Yeah, it's 1.10. 1 euro is $1.10. So $63,000 for that Lotus. That's a $63,000 for one. For one, you can only have one in your deck. So one piece of cardboard right there, 63K. And you're expected to shuffle that again 24 times in a live tournament setting, risk it being damaged. You're supposed to take that investment and do that. Instead of that being treated like a collector's piece and proxies being allowed. If we're doing rules as written, if we're going to be little rules Nazis, that's the proposition they're making. If we're going to be little rules Nazis, if we're going to say everything has to be an authentic card, which is funny because those same sellers, if they throw a tournament or something like that, they would totally anticipate people would proxy the Lotus in their deck. And they'll go, well, it's because of the extremity of cost, right?
Yeah.
Where do you draw the line? Where do you get to draw the line and say, no, this is an expense you have to take on? If we take any other game, baseball bat is about $40. Set of baseballs you can get for, to play a game of baseball, set of baseballs, Let's say 20 bucks.
Well, I mean, the argument that they would make is that
18
you can
mitts.
get a game edge if you're using an unfair ball or bat or whatever.
Sure. That's all I'm saying. If you buy an official baseball bat, Major League Baseball bat, it's about 20 bucks. The set of balls,
I
about 20
believe you.
bucks. Nine nine mitts for your team, set you back 180, 20 bucks a mitt. That's all roughly what those things cost. So so we're gonna set the price then at the barrier of what other games? Soccer cleats. Soccer cleats are about 100 bucks, and a soccer ball is about 20 bucks. Again, I'm rounding way up on purpose, right? It's a good old classic game of European football. These are Europeans we're talking about anyway with card market. I'm singling them out for a reason. Um, so an authentic game by their standards, and I just need a field, right? In all these conditions, I need a gameplay space, which they would argue for Magic, you need a gameplay space that's more indoors and thus subject to rent more likely, right? Fair enough. I didn't say cut the entry fee, did I? I didn't say you could do a pickup game, a pickup tournament of Magic for free. Sport, if this is a sport, right? That's what I'm paying. If I were to play board game night, what's a board game cost? 50 bucks? That's an authentic game. If I were to play Pokemon, if I were to play a pickup game of Pokemon in a tournament for a tournament legal deck, I'm dropping no more than a grand or two, right?
Sure, I believe you.
No more, and that's top tier major shit. I don't even believe they're that expensive. If I remember correctly, the Pokemon players all laugh at us because theirs cost 300. Yu-Gi-Oh is 300. Depending on the format, we go from a $600 investment to when Tarmas were at their peak. What? Jund was a $5,000 investment in Modern.
Yeah,
Yeah. So $5,000 investment for a legacy. This is reanimated. This is a relatively simplistic deck made up of relatively simplistic cards. It's mostly the mana. It's mostly the lands, the things you need to be able to cast your spells. These used to be sitting at least 60 right here, Verdant Catacombs. So that's going to set you back
hmm
5-6 grand, and that's a low end. And a vintage deck, if you play it properly, i.e., you have your Black Lotus because you're allowed one, $63,000 just to get one piece of cardboard. So does the prestige make it authentic? And I'm going to argue no. Jank, you can rebut that or agree. You choose.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think that the prestige makes it authentic.
I, I don't either. I think it's
Um,
the rules.
my interest in full disclosure to the audience is I have a cube that I have together. I intentionally ordered an entirely proxied cube. They're particularly nice proxies. I ordered them from, we'll say,
A
the
website.
internet's a
Yep.
website.
Yep.
And I spent a little bit of money on them. They were in total was probably like 150 bucks,
150 bucks.
which is not cheap, but
Certainly not,
certainly not the price of those cards, which include but are not limited to Black Lotus, amongst others.
amongst others. We call those the Power 9 in Magic, like the 9 most expensive cards. Although that one copy of the One Ring is $1 million, what, $2 million card, I think it was?
Who knows?
It was comical. It was a comical number. More expensive than a fucking Black Lotus. More expensive than a playable Black Lotus. So the reason we tell you this stuff is because like we don't argue that these things should have a cost to them. That's what gives them some level of meaning. The fact that you had to spend money and time, right? I had to spend this deck would have cost me, I calculated out this is a $60 investment to create this deck. Remember, one of those cards was a gift, the other 74. When you divide out the cost of what the ink cost me, um, the printing paper, the printer, it's a $60 investment. It goes up if you actually get esoteric and count the fact that I had to eat that day and I had, electricity bills to pay and whatever, right? I don't get that minutia oriented on what the cost is, but the actual
Sure.
like the unique objects here, including the packs, right? Including the packs. This is about 5 to 6 packs of Magic cards. Okay, again, they're backed. Each one of them is backed, so it feels like a Magic card deck. It feels authentic in that way. It's about 60 bucks. That's a $60 investment for me to be able to do that. And again, if I wanted to play in a tournament and you were to tell me it would cost me $30 to $40 to play in that event because it is a legacy event, wouldn't bat an eye. I'd absolutely agree because I would expect the winnings to at least be $60 worth of winnings if I take the whole tournament. Realistically, if there's 20 people involved at a $40 investment, I would expect about a hundo to come back my way if I won. Which is not a huge sum of money, but it's also no like for a $40 investment, getting 2.5 times on your return as a return, getting your money back, and then you're up 1.5. That's no small feat either. In second place, taking something like 80. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And that would pay for that store to be able to operate that tournament more or less for the day based on their daily operating costs, right? So nothing unreasonable about
sure.
what I've proposed. And again, because I did all this work and I didn't buy those cards, just essentially functioning as a tournament organizer who happens to sell these products right here that I need for each one of my decks. And so I can do maintenance on each one of my decks, right? Because the maintenance cost of a deck is going to go up over time, not down. And we've talked about that in terms of cost, right? So this will eventually cost me another $15 when I replace these sleeves. As I do maintenance on my deck and I run out of sleeves and I need new sleeves, especially if I want them in this color, or worse, if I want to change colors, right? The point is, it's only going to go up, and that stuff the LGS can continue to sell me while I'm there, either in emergency form or preparatory form. They can still make money off that transaction. They can make money off of the fact that they're selling the actual Vernic Catacombs that looks like this to me as a collectible. They can put it in a hard case and they can sell it. They can even upcharge because they put it in a hard case, and I know I'm going to keep it nice forever. But as far as a tournament game piece, there is nothing different with this Vernic Catacombs than any other Vernic Catacombs. I can still take all the necessary game actions with this. I can be interacted with by my opponent in any ways that they could interact with this card. There's nothing stopping them. A force of will that is proxied still stops faithless looting if that's what you wanted to counter. If you wanted to counter faithless looting in that matchup based on the game rules, I could still do it.
Hmm.
And the reason I stress that so much as to how things could operate is because the big magic sphere often I call it big magic, but like the higher end stores that would hold these events and the actual WotC, their argument is no, you can't do any of that. That would hurt the store. But I've already provided you with a situation where if I pay $40 to play my legacy deck that I made for $60, you can put on sale to me these Vernic Catacombs if I want to collect them and show off, much like a sports card shop already does. I could do that, and I could make a greater return on investment. And notably, to be able to do these proxies, somebody has to pay for this first. WotC gets their money. Somebody has to pay for this pack to be open to produce a stack of cards like this that I can pull out the collectibles from and take all the stuff that isn't really all that collectible unless I'm doing a full set sheet. And then I have to pay that local game store to put it in a sleeve. I have to pay my local Walmart or other computer supply place to be able to print this bad boy out right here. I apologize for the burp, but to print this bad boy out here. I have to buy a pair of scissors, right? I have to buy that from a craft store or from a dollar store or whatever. I have chugged 2 Celsiuses back to back and I am paying for it right now. But I have to take on all those costs to be able to participate in a game of Magic, casually or professionally even, protect my investment. And this is the most radical point I have. This is where I think I break from Jenk and a lot of people. I don't see why Wizards has something called the reserve list where they take cards like Black Lotus and minimize the ability to reprint those into only sanctioned non-legal cards, just like that token, sanctioned non-legal card. Or just like, I don't know, this art card right here, that art card. See that? Right there, sanctioned non-legal card. It's the only way you can reprint those right now. Only way. It's the only way you can reprint a Black Lotus too. Sanctioned non-legal card, either as an art card or as a piece of filler or as a world championship card, gold bordered card, as a piece of filler with some sort of marking on it that says this is not an official Magic card, even though it came out of a Wizards fucking pack. It's the only way you can reprint that card. So the only way I can play with that card is to drop $63,000 if I don't proxy it. And spoiler, out of spite, I have proxied so many fucking Black Lotuses. And I only have one vintage deck, but I just proxy them periodically just out of spite. I should have
Just
got
because I
one.
can.
I should have got a Black Lotus out. Actually, my vintage deck, I don't know if you can't see it from the video. I do. Hold on. I'm gonna go do it right now. I'm gonna spite wizards.
Another Black Lotus coming up.
I'm gonna spite wizards right the now, right here. This is a flip and tray Xenoskin deck case, and I recommend you get one of these bad boys. These are top of the line. This is what I keep my proxied vintage deck in. This is what I keep the goddamn Juggernaut in. Okay? I call the Juggernaut right here. You want to guess? You know what? This is kind of fun. Jake, you want to guess what I've proxied in vintage? What deck do you think
Is
I played in
it
vintage?
is it the Perfect Storm?
No.
It's some terrible Doomsday build.
Actually, no. Doomsday isn't terrible. That's not fair. Doomsday isn't terrible. Whoa. Okay, hold on. Bring in heat. Let me find it here. I'll surprise you all with it. Yep.
What
Here's
is it?
obviously it's a blue pile. Obviously, I'm just playing blue pile. You know me, baby. If it's not black and green, I ain't playing it.
That's fair.
Here, these are all the ridiculous cards in this deck. And I say ridiculous for a reason because they are just woo boy. Now my sideboard's a little messed up. I haven't cracked this bad boy out in a while. I think that's a. Is that my proxy? Yeah, that's a proxy one. I have like 2 real Besagers. And I think I put proxies in here, comically enough, exactly to protect my Besagers, because those things will get stupid priced eventually. That is a real Narset, though. Funny enough, that's a real Narset. That one, I happen to have these. That one's real. For as many as I play, though, that is not. I actually have a good bit. I actually have a good bit of those. Okay, good. My pieces of power are in here too. So I wanna carefully do the reveal on this. Ready? Right here. Here's a nice piece of power right there. Ancestral Recall. Right there, piece of power, Time Walk. These are all multi-$1,000 cards, but Tabernacle Pendrel Veil, not considered a piece of power, but this fucker's expensive. Mox Sapphire, that was a good penny, right? That's the best of the Moxes. It produces blue. Mox Emerald, probably third best, I'd say, just on how vintage works. Mox Jet, definitely the second best. You can cast Demonic Tutor with this motherfucker. And there it
Yup.
is, right there. Proxy Black Lotus, right there. Right there,
Yeah.
Proxy. Black Lotus, right
Would you
there.
look at that?
Would you look at that? And what's funny is if I am playing a game of vintage proxy and I crack this on you, it's funny is you don't go, well, that's not an illegal game action, so I'm not terribly concerned about the outcome. You go, ah shit, what's he doing now? Just like every other motherfucker who has a Black Lotus cracked on them. Vintage is great. Vintage is literally a format where you go, what's this motherfucker doing right now, and can I live through it? It's awesome. And then look, these are fun. By the way, real food token. Nope, fake. Fake. Proxy the token for fun.
Just because I could.
Just because I could. Just because. Fuck you. And these are my elk.
Oh,
These are my elks. They're also proxied. Took them from a site that makes proxies of elk
I don't know.
tokens.
So for me, I'm of the opinion the cost is a measurable thing, right?
Sure.
Like, it does not in any way make me upset whenever I'm playing vintage with a bunch of people and their Black Lotus is proxy. Not even a single bit.
Makes perfect sense. And you notice all these people who do throw this fit. Oh, it hurts the game store. You don't bitch that game store didn't sell you a Black Lotus. You don't
Right.
you don't whine about that. You don't whine if they didn't sell me
But
a Mox Sapphire.
I certainly do want, and it does make me a little bit frustrated whenever people will proxy, let's say, a $10 card in their commander deck for 6 weeks running.
Okay.
I get it's a $10 card. You don't want to buy it initially. You want to test it. I'm game. Play test it with me. Let's go. Let's see if you like it in this commander deck. Let's see if you like this $10 card in your standard deck. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. Not upset there either. The point where I start to get frustrated with my opponents is when we're on like week 7. They're not even really interested in playing this deck anymore, and they're still playing with that $10 proxy card.
Yeah.
Like at some point, you probably should have just committed and bought it. Is the way that my brain feels about it. You know what I mean?
That doesn't bug me. I
That's
do.
fair.
I will say this. Like, if you were to ask me what I was doing Thursday night, I was pricing out $1 commons and uncommons and so on, and even rares that are otherwise legacy and vintage playable. And I was like, you know what? You should probably commit to these. And there are a couple cards like Caracas where like I want to collect those and have an edition of those in real form, but
Mm-hmm.
purely for collector purposes, even though they are down, like certain printings are $15. Which
Sure.
objectively compared to what we're used to paying for a Caracas or a Wasteland 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, it's a hell of a price
Much
drop.
more reasonable.
Far more reasonable. And I don't begrudge people like when you're like just commit to the $10 card. I don't actually begrudge you for that either. I don't care myself. Like you saw I proxied a basic fucking swamp,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I wanted a snow
Listen,
covered swamp and I didn't have it.
if it's all proxy, meh, who
Yeah.
cares?
The only one I have real is because I happen to have one real. When I had Doomsday built, my Doomsday my Doomsday was real. One of my Doomsdays was real. I actually have two real Doomsdays now. I have the Jinji Ito and I have one of the original printings. But that's because I fucking love Doomsday. Again, those are collector's pieces for me. Those aren't. I don't like actually sleeving those up. But if the people are like, you don't even have any of the cards, well, I have the Doomsdays. I have the card that kills you. I don't know how you feel about that. Um, I'll give you another example. I have 8 cast suited up for Legacy, and I now have two of these bad boys right here. Those are real. That does not look like a real Magic card by our standard, but that is certainly 100% real. I now have two of those, right? Because I keep ripping these March of the Machine packs because they are fucking fire. Um,
Oh yeah, March of the Machines is a great set.
yeah, it really is. Just both the reprints and that. And see, we're not all. I'm not all negative on it. I didn't say what. Again, you should see how many of these I've bought. It's kind of gross. Even the set boosters too. You can't even draft with these. You can't even play a game with these. The draft ones ostensibly you can play a game with. I can't even play a game with these until I do this. But there's some. The bottom line is there's some fucking fire in there, and those cards added to the enrichment of the game overall. It's a very positive set in terms of the game, I think. Um, but by the same token, right? I have this pile of shit right here. Opportunity. That's real too. What can I do with this but burn it? That's it. My options are burn this. Nobody's buying this card. Target player draws 4 cards for 6 mana is not a rate of return people want to pay anymore. If they're paying 6 mana, they want an X modal spell that could really get them cards or settle for 4. They don't want a fucking fixed rate. They want to be able to pay for that. But by that same token, right? I got that. I also got two. This is my second one. Fairy Masterminds right there. This card is a fucking beat stick. This is a juggernaut. Pure value right here.
Sure.
If nothing else, carries a Jeet, baby. Because I'm going back to 2010. Putting a Jeet on a ferry and going to town.
Wow.
Yeah. But that's the point. For as much as this set is fire and fun or whatever, there's a ton of trash. This right here. This looks cool as shit. Right there, that's a Gyruda, Doom of Depths, which now that I've said the name, even though it looks cool as shit, you know what it's worth.
Hmm.
Fucking nothing. That is, I think, $1. I
That might
think
be generous.
I believe I am being generous, but I have like 3 of the Yorions that aren't serialized. Those are $1 a piece, and Yorion is fucking fire. Although, like, if we
Yeah.
were to get into gameplay talk, like those decks are way too clunky. But at the same time, I kind of want to build one just to be with all the other 80 card kids and 95 in the library. But whatever. Moving on. Right. Moving on from that. That's different. That's a different evening. And clean that paper off. There's a little bit of sticky stuff from the actual tag from this nice table that I got for playing Magic the Gathering on camera. So I can do Woo! Something overhead, right? I can do overhead. I have it zoomed in a lot, but yeah, see, I just need a boom arm for that. I might copy a
Sure.
mouse. That's what that swastika is. That's mouse. That's not that's not Mein Kampf. That's Art Spiegelman. Thank you. So later when people are like, can you believe Dan has something with a swastika on it? Well, yeah, I can. It's a fucking mouse. you know? I don't think that's there we go. Nazi propaganda in the slightest. But just
No,
in
not
case,
even a little bit.
not even a little pretty anti-Nazi. Um, but yeah, but that's my point. The reason now I'm going to get into the deeper theory, right? Before we wrap out, the reason that that game played with either of these decks has authenticity is because we have a social expectation of the rules of the game that exists. And I'll liken it to something that the funky academic would say, right? Imagine a game of soccer. One motherfucker wants to use his hands and feels oppressed because other people don't want him to use those hands. But the rules of a game of soccer, to have a coherent game of soccer, an authentic game of soccer with authentic soccer pieces, requires you to have the game pieces, your legs, your shoes, your soccer ball, be authentic. And then we have to have an authentic set of rules to go with them. And the only authentic rule, the only thing that makes that functionally different than this, the only authentic rule that changes is that they say arbitrarily you can't have a non tournament legal card because they're afraid of single sales. But Wizards already hate single sales anyway, and there is a better model that if you ignore that one rule, there is a better, but there is. I presented it. You know, you need access to collector's pieces. I agree with you, but you don't need collector's pieces for coherent pieces. And this is a pretty big about face for my opinion set. But the more I do this, an authentic game of Magic can be participated with the same thing as this chessboard right here. I can do it with this chessboard because we have a social set of rules that enforces how the pieces will move about this chessboard once we've created the pieces and played it flat and start doing the game. What produces authenticity is social agreement. It is not arbitrarily dictated by a content creator. It is not arbitrarily dictated by a second party user, a middleman. But authenticity is derived from the social set of rules that surround the thing. That's what makes it inauthentic or not. So an authentic game of Magic can still be happen with these proxy pieces, just as much an authentic game of soccer can occur if you and your friends go into a field and start kicking a ball around and declare a place a goal.
Hmm, I agree.
Yeah. So
I was hoping for something more to latch on to, but unfortunately, this is pretty reasonable set of logic coming from you.
you're like, God damn it, why didn't you go irrational? Well, the thing is, I've been wanting to talk about authenticity for a while anyway, and this is my favorite hobby, which I participate with by our standard pretty authentically, by somebody else's standard pretty inauthentically. So I wanted to talk about that. And the general consensus is these things right here, even though, again, nice hard deck box from that company, which I'm okay with advertising for. Again, I like their products. We have this Ultimate Guard right next to it, also a good product, nice magnetic deck box. The dice in here
Mm-hmm.
are a perfectly authentic Chessex set. The sleeves are Dragon Shields, and the cards in the sleeves are 50% authentic because there are a set of cards behind them that are authentic, but they're considered inauthentic um, based on an arbitrary rule about tournament play instead of based on, did I bring fucking Pokemon cards to a Magic tournament?
Right.
Which has its own authentic coherency recognized by other people. And
But not by the Magic
unfortunately,
player.
what's that?
But not by a Magic player.
Not by a Magic player will recognize that those are coherent Pokemon cards and agree that you could play a game of Pokemon with those cards, even if they don't know how to play it. They will agree to that. That you can have an authentic game of Pokemon with Pokemon cards, but you can't have an authentic game of Pokemon with non-Magic game pieces. And that is what will kind of separate us from other content creators. The point is that when they go, you're not giving the local game store their cut. Actually, I found a better way to give them their cut. Wizards gets their cut. All these other businesses get their cut to produce this. What I haven't done is isolated that money in one market, but we have to spread that money out to produce this for tournament purposes. A lot more workers benefit from this, even though the price is cheaper overall. Again, 60 bucks right here, 60 bucks right here. It's about 70. This deck box is a little more expensive, but moving on. I digress. So 60 and 70, right? Um,
Mhm.
it's cheaper for me to participate. And again, I didn't disagree at all that the tournament, when it's held at a local game store, and we have the stones to ask for prize support, that they should get their cut. And because these things are so cheap by comparison, they get to keep a bigger cut of the profits and are encouraged to engage in it more. They're encouraged to help you do it, to show you those collector's pieces, their fine range of products that they can sell you around that world, the refreshments at the event. They are perfectly encouraged to do all of those steps, but what they aren't encouraged to do is liquidate, or excuse me, to lock up a lot of their money in products that come out of one of these packs right here. And yet they can still offer these packs so the Wizards gets their money, and this still happens. And most importantly, we get to sit down, shuffle up, and play some fucking Magic, which Jank and I would both love to do with you, dear viewers, posthumously or
Yeah,
otherwise.
posthumously or otherwise.
Yeah, preferably we're not
I
dead when it
would.
happens.
I prefer not to be dead as well.
I'd prefer it. Yeah,
I'm generally in favor of playing more games. If you told me there was a full proxy permitted legacy tournament happening somewhere, I'd probably be down for it.
if we can get enough people, we will host an online one, dude. And we will Sons of Trier proxy friendly legacy event. We will do it. We will play with you. You can try to kick our asses. I gotta warn you, one of us is good at the game, the other is Dan Cohen. I don't know. I do play a mean reanimator. We'll have to sit up. We'll actually have to sit down and play it sometime. We'll record that. But I do play a mean reanimator.
Yeah, well, we can set up the table and everything. Like I told you, we got people who want to play, so that's a fun thought. I have the cube still. We could draft that. There's a lot of things we can do.
There's a lot we could do. I would love to draft a vintage cube as well. Again, we have some angles, and we have the online means. We have the technology. We can make it happen. And we could teach anybody because again, the beauty of the proxy is this is a $60 investment. I promise you, you have invested more in a hobby that you have given up on. This is a $60 investment, and you get to have pretty collectibles at the end of it. You get to have very pretty collectibles at the end of it. So like, it's not even a total fucking wash. But yeah, I'll tell you what. Before we go, I'll tell you about something funny last night. So last night, I played Cephalid Breakfast versus my daughter playing Reanimator because this right here is her deck. That's what my little one plays the most. Okay. This is how she's learning the game. That's how she's interacting with the game with her father and so on. And she's getting better at it. She's starting to learn the importance of why I would like when I pilot it, I do so many discard checks and so on before I make a move, right?
Hmm.
And she learned that the hard way last night because my line of play was turn one Shuko off a Tundra pass, turn two play fetch land crack for underground sea, tap two at the end of her turn, cycle step through, turn three, untap land cephalid illusionist, begin the combo, initiate a kill. Before she had a chance to set up. So she had two discard pieces in her hand that she was like, whatever, he's not even doing anything to me. I don't have to care about making him discard, right? He's not even doing anything. She learned the hard way. But the reason she learned the hard way that night is because the night before, on turn 9, I had executed the combo and had staved off Reanimator's onslaught through just sheer board presence and went to execute the combo. And when I brainstormed, before, mind you, I have Cephalid Illusionist in hand in play. I have Nomad's
Okay.
Encore in play. The combo is ready to go off. I brainstorm because my hand contains, I shit you not, Dread Return and Thassa's Oracle. But I also have two construct tokens, so I can go off. I don't need Narcomoeba to go off, and I have two Narcomoebas in hand. I don't need them. Reanimator isn't famous for its removal suite, right?
Right.
Guess what I kept in my hand after I brainstormed?
Oh boy.
You know where it's coming, don't you? And I learned the hard way to remember what the fuck you're actually doing in a game of Magic before you initiate a lethal combo. Is maybe make sure that combo is in the position it's supposed to be. Because I kept that Dread Return in Thassa's Oracle, meaning I can't execute the combo. I die on my draw step. I milled my whole library looking for the fucking thing and went, where the fuck are my cards? And I went, oh god, no.
Oh no.
So, two
Is that
facts
better or
emerged.
worse than siding out your kill?
It's worse than siding out your kill when you're holding it in your hand and you brainstorm specifically to enable your kill. You're like, I got this shit. All I gotta do is succeed in this brainstorm. The easiest thing at this point. I have 2 Force of Wills and 2 Narcomoebas, plus the combo in hand. And a brainstorm. I have a full hand of 7 on turn 9. I'm like, I can't lose right now. I'd have to be a freaking idiot to lose.
Oops.
And I picked up. I was like, oh, I better put back this a superfluous brainstorm and this extra fucking Nomads and Core because I don't need those. That's what I did. And then I was like, where's my combo? So I learned 2 things about myself last night. I'm a wicked reanimator player. Like it just works in my brain. It just works right. I know what to do. I know how to fight out of situations. And I am one of the shittiest Cephalid breakfast players, bar none. Bar
Uh,
none. That is not the combo for me.
sometimes you just gotta play through it to figure that out.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, it's only my 7th time piloting the deck. But it was just a fucking baby play mistake. It was just completely embarrassing. I was like, oh my god, because then my kid's like, we need. I'm like getting ready. I'm like putting it up, and I said, good game, and she's like, no, I want to play it out, and I'm like, well, I lost. That's why I'm doing this. I'm conceding because I can't win. And she didn't really understand the combo until I demonstrated the other night, and she went, that is unfair. You can't play that. That's cheating. That's too OP. And mind you, I like looked at her hand and she went first. So like she could have turned one and been like, oh, I'm gonna take that step through. And turn two, I'm gonna take that Shuko and then he can't combo off. You know what I mean? I didn't have Force of Will. I was totally vulnerable to discard, and she was just like, yeah, whatever. I'm just gonna resolve Atraxa and win because Atraxa is lulls. I was like, that's what you get. You did not decide to kill me the way I needed killed. You should have hand checked it. I dropped a Tundra. You should have hand checked me for a Force of Will. And when you found a combo, you should have went, oh hell nah. Oh hell nah, dog. That's her new favorite thing too. She likes to run up to me when my back's turned and slap me in the back, and then when I whip around, she goes, "Oh hell no, dog," and runs away. She calls that the hell no, dog punch.
Oh God.
Yeah, she's funny as shit. But dude, I'm telling you, the rage quits. It's like every new Magic player the first time they get fast comboed out on, she's like, that shit is too fucking OP. This is bullshit. This game is bull. She did the thing, and I was like, oh, that's cute. This is real fucking cute. Real proud of her. She's progressed properly because now she's won so many times with the deck. Because Reanimator is like straight up. If you don't have the tools, that deck is gonna fucking steamroll you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it's like she's won so many times with it while I'm testing out builds that she's gotten cocky.
Hell, even if you have the tools, sometimes it kind of just puts it together.
Yeah. Sometimes it just keeps doing the thing. You're like, oh good, I endurance his graveyard. Oh, that's an entomb. That set him back a turn. That was a time walk. That wasn't a kill. God, I love this game. Fucking love this game. All right, I
Yes,
think we're good for tonight.
I agree.
Yeah,
This was a fun chat. Authenticity is an interesting thing.
yeah. I think in this context too, because we don't often think about it like that, but a lot of people associate commodities with authenticity at the level of the creator. The creator determines it, and I don't think. I think for like, if you buy a replica of the statue of David, right? I think it's very
Right.
hard to tell if that person went and studied that. I think it's very hard to tell it's inauthentic, but for age wear, and they do have things to restore it, and that restoration can make it inauthentic. If you're a purist, right? That you need the weather damage due to time, but if you do that, you lose the quintessence of it. You lose the essence of it, and then the authenticity is ruined by literal erosion, right?
Sure.
So I think it's more the social rules governing the thing that makes something au- authentic. God, I'm losing my ability to talk. I'm getting tired. Despite 2 Celsiuses, by the way, 2 of them in my system. Not going to be sleeping tonight, but I'm also going to be tired while I'm not sleeping. That's cool. Um, but I have that. I'm of the opinion that it is society that grants authenticity, the rules of the situation.
Hmm.
Because it's, and we both know this, right? It's in 1994, an authentic game of Magic would include a concept called mana burn, which is now an ability they put on cards because that rule has been removed from the game of Magic. So if you were a player who just walked out in 1994 and saw people not taking mana burn damage, you would freak out
You'd
that
be
they weren't
very
playing.
confused.
You'd be very confused. They wouldn't be playing an authentic game of Magic to you because the thing has changed. The social rules have changed.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
yeah, that's where I fall in that argument. And again, unlike a lot of people, I gave the game stores away. I'm giving you away a path to profit that is more profitable than what you're doing right now with those same tournaments. Precisely because you're tied to a concept of authenticity that is derived at through profit extraction, not through social relations. I gave you a gift, and if you ignore it, that's your fucking fault. That's not mine. I gave it to you. And Cenk co-signed
Hmm.
it, so I know I am not being ridiculous.
It's not totally ridiculous.
I think it's a very I honestly do think that's a very good way, and I could debate the finer points in that if it was really desired, right? And I think
Yeah, I mean you're not going to get a hard argument out of me. I would prefer that the game be cheaper and more accessible to more people. This
yeah,
seems like an effective way of making it cheaper and more accessible to more people, but that's not surprising because in a shocking turn of events, the game that I like to play, the reason why I like it is because I like playing the game.
yeah, it's not the collectible.
Collecting Yeah, collecting the bits is a secondary effect. I'm good at it. I can do the capitalism thing, but that's not the desire for me. The desire is to play the game. I would happily eliminate my entire collection today if it meant that everything was free for the world to play.
The cool thing is you don't need to give up that collectible element. We just need to play harder into it.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. I look forward to playing some games with you. Let's
Yeah,
uh let's put it in person.
it's coming.
And good luck, America.
Yeah, don't die.
Don't die.
We love
We
you.
love you.
Bye.